Asian Caregivers, an online registry for finding caregivers. Everyone has a story to tell, even us.
The Asian Caregiver Story. The inspiration for Asian Caregivers came from my personal experience of trying to find an affordable Cantonese-speaking caregiver who could be a companion for my mother. My mother had no strength in her legs and needed badly to get regular exercise to reduce her risk of falling. She also needed help with cooking and housekeeping. The task of finding a caregiver is very stressful, especially for someone like me who can't read or write Chinese. Since I didn't have the language, I wasn't confident about putting an ad in a Chinese newspaper or on Chinese websites. I ran an ad on Kijiji for several months, but the people who answered the ad spoke everything but Cantonese. My mother herself resisted the idea of having a stranger come into the house. One day, a friend told me about a nanny website. I took out a subscription, but at the end of the day, I still couldn't find anyone on the site who spoke Cantonese or even lived in the same city as my mother. Still, the idea of a secure web community to attract caregivers who could speak my mother's language was very appealing. Anyhow, now you know, this is the story of how Asian Caregivers was born.
My father's story. I started working at Asian Caregivers because I wanted to promote a way of life that could work. My father has Parkinson's disease. It is a mental disability that causes your brain to not send out instructions to your body. Meaning, sometimes the brain would think, move your right arm, but that message does not get sent to your right arm. Sometimes, he is just like a normal human being. Sometimes, he gets stuck, meaning you're unable to move and your entire body freezes, feeling like a rock. In the beginning, he was fine, only getting stuck once or twice a day. Then it became 3 or 4 times a day. It has continued like this for almost 10 years now. The things he was able to do by himself, such as eating, bathing, and other stuff, has become really difficult. With my father getting stuck more frequently, he began falling a lot. We made the sad and difficult decision to send him to a nursing home. We know that there are good and not so good nursing homes. The first nursing home he lived at was near Islington. It was chosen by his appointed government guardian. It was very far from where we lived and in a locked building. I would often get calls from him saying how he hated it there, how strangers would touch him, and how he was going insane in there. We took him out of there. So he started living at home again and was placed on the waiting list for a closer nursing home. In hindsight, if I knew that I could have hired someone for a few hours a day, helping him bathe, assisting him with eating, toiletry, and just being there to accompany him, he could have probably lived at home for much longer. Although the nursing home is what I feel is the best nursing home for him right now, I still see him getting malnourished and losing weight each time I see him. I understand how hard it is when you just don't have the time to clean or cook or help someone you love. That's why, for me, helping someone in need for a caregiver so they can live at home for as long as they can is so important.
My mother-in-law is 90 years old, speaks only Cantonese and needs help to continue to live alone at home. Currently, she gets help from the health department workers for bathing, toileting and walking 4 times a day. Our daughter lives nearby and has to plan her day around the healthcare workers to let them in the house. It's hard on my mother-in-law. She gets stressed out from the different workers coming every day. Also, the workers only stays for 15 minutes each time, so she never really gets to know them well enough. As we live away out of town, my wife set up security cameras as she worries about her mother falling. Fortunately, about 8 months ago, we found a weekend companion for her mother, with the goal that she will eventually accept her position as a living companion. The person is not a nurse, but she has had experience caring for her husband for 2 years after his stroke. At last, my mother-in-law is much happier now, being able to live alone in her own home as she wishes. On the weekend now, my wife doesn't have to worry as much, and her sister gets a break from opening the door daily for the healthcare workers. Now, Would it not be nice if we could all have a companion to be there for us in our old age and to continue to live independently in our own home?
My parents' story. My parents were both working from 9 to 5 every day when I was in elementary school. They usually came home after 6 and did not have enough time to prepare meals for me. It was a really hard time for us until we found a part-time caregiver who used to come to our condo every weekday for 3 hours per day. Those 3 hours were all my parents needed. She picked me up at my school every day and then cleaned our condo up thoroughly. By the time my parents got home, the place was clean and the dinner was on the table. There are so many hardworking parents in our society right now. All they need sometimes is just someone to help with light housework and dinner preparation. After a long and tiring workday, don't you wish you can just sit down and have a nice dinner with your family without putting extra effort to do the housework?
Asian Caregivers, we're here for you. For more information, please go to our website www.asiancaregivers.ca